Now we are going to do an installation on a Citroën Berlingo. This body style has been available since 2019. There is also a Peugeot partner from 2019, a Toyota ProaceCity, and an Opel combo from 2020 and onwards, and a Fiat Doblo from 2022 and onwards has the same body as the one we will be installing today. Now we will start by attaching the drilling templates, beginning with the side door. For the side door on this car, we do not have any clearance, so we must place the lock at the bottom of the side door. The installation option we have here is that we can place it all the way at the bottom and a maximum of 2 centimeters up from the edge to the beginning of the drilling template. These are the options available. This corresponds to a measurement. If you measure from the lower edge, you can make a mark at 6 to 8 centimeters on the side door where the center of the drilling template should align. This is the range we have. So from 8 centimeters in the middle of the template down to 6. This is where it can sit. And then we place the template with the black line flush against the door panel. When we are going to install the lock on the rear door, we stick the drilling template on, but we move it 8 millimeters to the left so that the holes are positioned correctly, and so that we can pull the emergency wire to the emergency button on the rear door. Stick the drilling template on the rear door 8 millimeters to the left of the black line. The black line is usually located there. We carefully move it approximately 8 millimeters sideways and stick it on. As for the height placement on the rear door of this car, we can install the lock from this part all the way up. So, it is a flexible placement within the frame. I have chosen to position the drilling template so that it is at the same height as the side door for aesthetic appeal. However, we can place the lock lower or higher if desired. That works perfectly. If this car had windows on the rear doors, that is, glass in this part, it would be possible to install the lock under the window. The same applies to the side door. If you follow along and look here, if there had been a glass panel here, you could place the lock exactly on the flat surface here. However, it will be a different type of drilling, and I want you to contact us if you need to install the lock at this height. Take out a pen and cross out the markings where we should not drill on this car. Now we will drill on the left rear there, and we will drill in the center for the 4 markings that we have. When we drill on the right rear there, we will drill 2 millimeters to the left. So, 2 millimeters inwards to the left to get a better clearance for the wear plate. So for all 4 holes on the right rear, we move 2 millimeters to the left on all 4. But all markings on the left rear are centered. On the side door, we drill at 3 markings in the center of the marking. But on the body of the side door, we angle it slightly downward and inward to compensate for when the hinges behave and the door starts to sag. So we aim for 4 o'clock and drill 1 millimeter in and 1 millimeter down, hanging it in the cross. Cut the drilling template so that you can open the doors. Attach a small drill bit to the drill, about 4 millimeters. Drill all 4 holes in only the outer plate to 4 millimeters. Before we drill on the left rear door, it is important to open the doors so that we do not penetrate through and damage the pillar on the right rear door. When we are going to drill on the left rear door, we drill the hole farthest to the left only through the outer plate. Right behind the outer plate, the post will be drilled very carefully with the drill. We drill the other 3 holes all the way through, but only the outer plate, and drill it carefully. Change the drill to 6.5 millimeter and drill the two outer holes to 6.5 millimeter and the third hole in the middle through to 6.5 millimeter. Change the drill to 7.5 meter and drill the hole farthest to the left to 7.5 meter, only the outer plate. Drill very carefully as the post is right behind. Attach a 6.5 millimeter drill and drill the second hole from the top to 6.5 millimeter through the outer plate and straight through the entire post. Now that we drilled the hole all the way through the right rear door, we came out on a flat surface. If we had placed the lock lower down, we wouldn't have done it because it is narrower here than it is higher up. You can only drive a through bolt on a flat surface if you have raised the lock a bit, and if you place the lock at the bottom, you will not be able to come out on a flat surface, and then you might consider using 4 rivets instead. Change the drill to 9 millimeter and drill the remaining 3 holes to 9 millimeter only in the outer plate of the right rear door. When we drill through the outer plate, there is a plate that runs from left to right, ending approximately halfway where the drill comes. Make sure it doesn't hit and poke to the right, but keep the drill steady while we drill through this half of the sheet that ends about halfway through the hole. Take out the small drill template for the emergency button. Stick it on the inside of the post so that the middle hole is centered between the 2 holes. Just like that, on the post. It doesn't matter if it is positioned this way or that way, as long as the middle hole aligns with the others. Take a center punch and mark the center on all 3 markings. Attach a smaller drill to the screwdriver and drill the outer plate at the center of all 3 holes. Be careful of breakthrough to avoid leaving marks on the surface of the door. Change the drill to 7 mm and drill all 3 holes to 7 mm only in the outer plate. Be careful once again now so that you do not get breakthrough marks on the outside of the door. Take a countersink and chamfer all the holes on the inside and outside. Drilling for the side door and the body. We start with a smaller drill and drill the outer sheet at all 4 markings on the body. Open the side door before drilling the other 3 holes. Drill all 3 holes in the side door completely through with a smaller drill. Change the drill to 6.5 millimeters and drill all 3 holes in the side door to 6.5 through. Change the drill bit to 9 mm and drill all 4 holes on the body at the side door to 9 mm, only the outer sheet. Use a countersink or manual deburring tool to deburr all the holes inside and out. Spray cavity wax into all cavities, that is, where there are holes in the body, not where there is thin sheet metal. Take out rust protection primer or a fish oil pen and paint all of the car's surfaces, both inside and outside. Now we will install rivets on the right rear door. Since there was a half plate that protruded from the left and inward, we will place the short-ribbed M6 rivet in the top hole and the other two holes on the right rear door. Take the long M6 split rivet and install 4 of them in all 4 holes on the body of the left side door. Replace the grommet on the pliers with M5. Also, change the outer part to M5. Take the 2 small M5 rivets and secure them in the lower and upper holes on the inside of the post on the left rear door. Take out the black Damascus and stick them on. Take a Loctite that is weak or medium strength and apply a dab to the rivets. Take out a shim, 2 screws with ball heads and small washers and secure them in the upper and lower holes on the right rear door. Take out a final rivet, a screw with a countersunk head that is 25 mm long, and the long screw. Thread through the end plate carefully and precisely, with utmost attention to detail, and then we carefully drive the upper pole all the way through. Should I just avoid barging in there? Screw the short screw into the rivet in the lower hole. Then meet up with the rubber, nut and washer on the inside of the pillar. Take out a shim and 2 screws with ball heads, a small washer, and secure them in the top and bottom holes of the body near the side door. Take out a final washer and 2 screws with a countersunk head that are 25 mm and secure them in the middle rivets on the frame. Take out the bottom plate and cut off the passage for the emergency cable as indicated. Now we will install the bottom plate on the side door, and we will take out a shim, a bottom plate, the one with the cut arm, a screw that is 25 mm long with a countersunk head, a small washer, and a low profile nut. Tighten the screw so that the passage on the screw goes precisely through the locking mechanism of the low profile nut. It is important not to tighten too much as we have this air gap where the plates can be drawn together, So 25 mm on the length of the screw, low profile on the nut, and we tighten just enough so that the head of the screw just barely peeking out, not even a thread past the nut. Now we are going to hang the lock on the side door. We take out the lock without the emergency cable. Manually lock the bolt with your hand. Place the lock to the right of the bottom plate. Press with your left hand to angle out the plate. This allows us to get behind it. Then we pull the lock to the left sideways. If the black rubber is sticking out, just push it back in with a screwdriver. If a lot is coming out, just cut it off. It has no function back here. After you have slid your hand over the lock, before we install the screws from the inside out, we unlock the lock and test the door. To check how the shims relate to the center before we screw it in place. It looks good here. We will screw it in. Take 2 screws with a cooler in the head and blue Loctite on, 2 small washers, and secure them at the top and bottom on the inside. Now we are at the back doors. We take out a bottom plate and then we cut half of the opening for the bottom plate to the back door. We do this because it will rest on the post that is right behind. So we cut off half of the passage to the bottom plate for the back doors. I take out a shim, a bottom plate with half of the heel cut off, a screw with a countersunk head that is 30 mm long, a small washer, and high-profile nuts. Thread the emergency cable carefully through the bottom plate and then carefully through the outermost hole on the left back there and out carefully through the middle one on the post, like this. Tighten the screw against the low-profile nut using a 10 mm wrench. Keep your finger on the bottom plate so that you can feel when it takes an angle as you tighten. Moderate flex is good, not too tight, otherwise we will sew the air gap together. Now we have tightened the screw so that it is flush with the low-profile nut. That is where we stop screwing. What one needs to keep in mind is that the thickness of the post varies here. The higher you go on the door, the thicker the post becomes, and the lower you go, the narrower it gets. This measurement is therefore only for this installation height. If we were to place the lock a bit lower on the back door, one might need to tighten the screw another thread through the nut. If you place it higher up, you may need to switch to a low-profile nut since the post is thicker up there. When the cable is through and you have tightened the bottom plate, take the lock bolt and press it in manually with your finger. Place the lock to the left of the plate. Keep the cable taut. When we place the lock to the left of the bottom plate, we press with the right hand to angle out the hand so that we can get behind. When you have gotten him to slide a bit, make sure to keep the emergency cable taut while we pull the lock sideways. Now that we tightened the lock, it was so tight that the skim followed along here at the top edge, and it is not even. Then you can take a screwdriver or something else and press in the shim to hold the lock in place so that it stays where it is. And then we see that the black rubber dam has come out here, and it's enough that we cut it off. It's not important at the back. Take out 2 screws with a cooling head, blue Loctite, and small washers, and secure them on the inside of the door. Take out the red plastic button, a flat screwdriver, loosen the nipple into the button, 60-10 turns. so it shouldn't fall off. It was loose. Manually lock the piston with your hand. Take the wire, carefully thread it through the back of the emergency button and carefully down through the gold-colored nipple in the plastic button. With care, gently exert force, as it is not an open blow. Manually lock the piston with your finger and pull the plastic button towards the inside of the post. Then it is perfectly adjusted. If the button has been pulled too far forward and you want to rewind, you can press the screwdriver into the nipple and it will open up so that you can go back. Lock it up to the pole's end and then it is absolutely perfect. Carefully tighten the nipple half a turn at a time so that you don't get stuck in the wire. Take out the screws that are M5 with a countersunk head. Screw the emergency button into the upper and lower holes. Cut off the wolf at the bottom of the button. If you can't reach it with a small wire cutter, you can advantageously push it out to gain access. Cut off the excess of the long screw on the inside of the right rear door. And when you are thoroughly done with that, you can carefully blow clean all the surfaces with compressed air, ensuring everything is properly cleaned. Finish with thoroughly oiling all the locks. Cut a hole where the nut closes against the back of the door so that the nut and the screw are recessed into the sealing strip, preventing water from leaking into the body.